Man, we in the Groove Studios here on We Love Rare Grooves, coming to you from the studios of Los Angeles, California, here on the Sunset Gower Studios on the UBNRadioTV.com. Tune in where we bring you this show every Monday night, where we bring you the magic of the music and the music of the magic and the history and the legends and the unsung legends of R&B music. I'm your host, C. Mose, and I'm excited to be here tonight. Every week we say it, how can we get another great guest? And today we went into the vault.
Yeah.
We went into the vault and giving some deserved credit tonight. And this is, y'all know this is one of my favorites right here.
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna have to start the show off right, but I feel like I'm cleaning them right now.
Hey, please.
I'm cleaning right off the album right now.
As you should.
You know, I'm back in the bird right now. Here on We Love Rare Grooves. I want to thank our listening audience all over the globe for joining us every week. But as I say, I can't do this without my cast and crew, and I'm starting off with the world famous DJ DeVoe. What you say?
What's going on, C-Mose?
Man, you going on, man. We in the crate tonight, baby.
Yeah, we digging.
We digging. We got it for him tonight, man.
Yeah. Yeah, we got a heavy hitter in the house.
So what's going on in your DJ world?
Man, all good. You know, did a little something Friday night, and then
Did I miss it?
Yeah, I was at the spot.
You was go ahead. You can go ahead and name
What
it.
spot?
What spot?
Bar Melody.
Oh man, I gotta
was
get
in
over
front
there. I
of-
heard you
yeah.
have them sweating, man, off
they,
the
they
wall,
get it
man.
in over there.
To the window, to the wall, to the sweaty
wall,
balls.
To walls. Yeah.
Oh
So
my
you know
God.
that's how we do.
Right,
And then Saturday was the first Saturday I hadn't worked in 7 years.
man. You and the wife, y'all must have got it going
Man,
on. Y'all must have been.
I didn't even
like-
know what to do. I didn't
You
even know
knew
what
what
was
to-
on TV.
You knew what to do.
You
Yeah.
you knew exactly. Put it in. Get on in. Water's fine.
Hey, so and also you got my man there, DJ Reg. How you doing, my good man?
What's going on, folks? Happy Monday. Happy Monday.
Happy Monday to you, my good man.
Yes,
I got
sir.
the work he wasn't doing, you were doing, right?
Absolutely. I was getting it in.
I got the hardest working DJs in the
Man, I was
land
getting
right
it
here,
in.
man.
Oh, absolutely. Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Turntables 1 and 2, I got them directly right here.
That's right.
As we do. And also tonight we gonna wish Greg Sneed. He ain't with us tonight, but he's with us in spirit. Him and the
Crickets.
well, we ain't got the Crickets today. And Robert A. He's up there in Oakland, man. He
Another
said
cricket guy.
it's a little dusty up there,
Oaktown, huh?
yeah,
Yeah.
Oaktown. But they're
Yeah.
good,
Oh,
man.
yeah.
They're checking us out. And then we can't do the show without our lovely co-host,
Oh,
the talented
absolutely.
and beautiful Miss Shantini Irie.
Hey.
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 You safe there? I'm glad to see you made it here. You called me earlier.
I know the craziness by my house. Crazy.
What's going on?
Talking about I might not be able to make it. They got us
No,
all
seriously,
locked
they
in.
were locked in. There
They
was
had
like a
you locked down.
shootout, and people were chasing each other, shooting, and someone got killed in front of my house.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah,
Don't say that too loud.
And she
Nah, I'm
don't
just
even.
saying,
And she don't
it's
even
true.
live in the jungle.
I don't. I live in a very nice neighborhood, but it just
So is your neighbors kind of like freaked out?
no.
Don't you live where Samuel
live
Jackson did that movie?
You thought they was
I
probably
live
listening
across
to,
the street from where Rodney King got beat up. So
Don't you live? But
they're used to that sort
Lake
of stuff.
Lake Terrace, where he
Lake
did the
View Terrace?
right, where he did the movie.
I don't know if they shot that movie in Lakeview Terrace or if they shot it in somewhere.
Then
I'm not sure.
I thought they shot it at your house.
No.
Okay. I get things twisted sometimes. But thank you so much. Everything going good with you?
Everything's wonderful.
All right. Well, glad to see you here. Glad to see we're all here. Thank the good Lord tonight to have
thank the
another
Lord.
groovy show here in the Groove
Groovy.
Studios. I'm telling you. But I want to thank our sponsors first for keeping it going.
Yeah.
Beverly Boy Video Production.
Beverly
Yeah.
Boyd.
Man,
I'll be with Kel actually Wednesday.
they got it going on. They got a
Red
red carpet,
carpet.
red
Yeah.
carpet of you. So we're gonna be down there celebrating with them, give them
so
some
we'll have
love
to
there.
travel all
Beverly
the way to
Boy
Tustin.
Video. Tustin.
Tustin. That's the other side of the state.
And also Wings Limousine, where you.
Ride like a star.
And we got some new sponsors coming next week, so we'll talk to you all about it.
Oh.
All
All
right,
right.
that's
Oh.
right. We're excited.
Moolah coming in.
That's right. So here we
Receipts.
We love Red Grooves, and tonight we want to welcome to the Groove Studio a soul legend,
Yeah.
songstress,
Yeah.
songwriter.
Uh-huh.
She got musician under her.
Ooh.
And also, she's doing her own vocal architect thing right now. Now, her career began with the Ikettes.
I guess.
Hey, the Ikettes.
Ikettes. You see, I put the Ikettes in there.
Ikettes.
So
The
we gonna have-
Ikettes.
The Ikettes. So we're gonna have some backstories tonight
Okay,
to go with.
all right.
And she performed with them, and then she started with her own band with 3 other guys, and they were called Maxayn. We played a couple of those songs,
Yes,
a
we
song
did.
off
Yes,
that
we
album.
did.
That's why I looked and we said we got to find this young lady here. So we found the original member, and she also appeared to back up on some of the Gap Band's albums, and also she did some stage with Bobby Blue Band, traveled around the
Hey,
world.
okay.
And, but she really worked very close with Andre Lewis, who we hear in the background, which is called Mondre. And so I'm very happy because this is one of my favorite Quiet Storm songs. And now she's has her own Firehorse Music, and she's also a certified vocal architect coach. So without further ado, I want to thank Maxayn Lewis for joining the Groove Studios.
Hey!
Talented Maxayn Lewis, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having
I'm
me.
very happy to have you here today. It's an honor.
Thank you.
So, what's up? You here in the
I'm
Groove
here.
Studios? You feeling it?
I'm here. I'm feeling it.
You got to be feeling
fun.
that song.
I love this music. So.
You were there in the original. You
That's
know
right.
how this was composed.
Absolutely. All the drama that went on around it.
Whoa, we didn't
when
hear
I say
that.
drama, I mean fun.
Okay.
I mean like really
okay.
dramatic fun, but crazy. But we had a lot of fun doing it, and we enjoyed it. We loved it. We had no idea that it would be recognized for this long at
Right,
all.
it's transcendent. It's with me.
Yeah.
You know, we were talking about earlier. You know, I got the vision. We won't go back into that.
Yeah, let's not.
But as we do this show, we talked to you earlier. We Love Rare Grooves is about the rare history of our guests and where it's all started from. And this is all about you tonight. It's not about us. So tell your story however you want to tell it. And we're going to tell it with the music that you was involved in. So as we asked all our artists when they first come on, did you come out of the womb singing? Where you from? How it got started? Your family? We want to know your mama.
I wouldn't say I came out of the womb singing, but I definitely was born into a family that was very loved music. And my parents, I had a really happy childhood with my mom and dad and my brother and sisters, and lots of music in our house, you know, like on Saturdays, all the weekend. It was on Sundays. It was going to be Mahalia Jackson and the Caravans. Let's just get it right.
There you go.
For church.
Hell yeah.
My mother had every record Mahalia Jackson ever sang.
Wow.
I knew that music without ever learning it. It's just kind of like by osmosis.
That and James
I
Cleveland.
didn't know that, you know. And then my father loved jazz and blues, so there was a lot of Ray Charles and Milburn Stone and Little Johnny Taylor, and, you know, all the the deep blues guys, John Lee Hooker, you know, that kind of thing, Howlin' Wolf, you know.
Yes, Howlin' Wolf.
And me, the blues, I wish I would have lit,
Yeah.
you know, from like 1, 2, 3 on up, because you would have figured out everything. They tell you
It's all
everything you
blues.
need to know
It's all
Right.
blues.
in the blues.
It's all blues. So I grew up listening to all kinds of music and just hearing it, having it be in our home all the time. So
Now, where you originally from?
Tulsa, Oklahoma,
Tulsa.
Tulsa.
Oklahoma.
Black Wall Street.
Oklahoma.
Black Wall Street. Hey,
That's what it is.
you have any experience with that Black Wall Street?
Well,
from your
I
family?
grew up in, first of all, let me say that Oklahoma is an extremely segregated state. Red, as they say, bloody red state.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
So the north side of Tulsa is the black neighborhood, and the south side was the white neighborhood. And our two neighborhoods were definitely divided. When I was a kid growing up, they still had white and colored signs for restrooms and eating places, eating counters, and bathrooms and water fountains, that kind of thing. You couldn't try on a white dress if you were black for graduation or for your first communion. They had them sealed in plastic. They thought it was going to rub off like chocolate or something on the clothes. So it was it was quite interesting. But the good thing about it, the uninterrupted black culture in that city was really fun because it was a lot of love and nurturing that went on in the schools, all black teachers. We had a very good class education in black history. And I mean, all the little nuances of black history, we got to really study that in a much more expansive way than you would if you were like in a mixed school where they try to marginalize everything. So we really learned about our history and appreciated it, and it celebrated us, you know, all the time. So my mom was, she never thought that integration was going to be a good thing for the black community. She always thought it was going to destroy the black community, the closeness of it.
But it is some truth.
Maybe
to that.
Mama
There's a
had
whole lot
what
of
she
truth.
was talking about.
Yeah, a lot of truth to that.
Yeah. So even though you grew up listening to all those greats, when did you come to realize that you were musically inclined?
Well, I just, for some reason, I don't even know when it began, but I can say that around 3 years old, I loved piano. If I saw a piano, I wanted to play it. I couldn't, but I wanted to. And if I heard it on the radio, I would just like stop at this piano. If I saw somebody on TV I wanted to play piano, and so my mom put me into a music conservatory. And the minute I got in the lady showed me like, oh, it works like this, and you're going to read this book and do that. I was like a sponge. I just soaked it right up. I really wanted to do it. I don't know where that came from. It just was
Already in you.
something there that I wanted to do. And started from there. And then, of course, listening to all the music, you start hearing different things. As you learn to play an instrument, you start realizing, oh, wait, that's part of this song that you heard before when you were a kid. And you start picking out things, which I was studying classical music. But my teacher at the Latimer School of Conservatory of Music, she didn't want me to improvise or do anything but just play the classics.
What it was written,
And then one day I was riding on my bike and with some friends, and they were having what they call a convocation at a Kojic in a tent. We heard this music.
Sounds about right.
Because I wasn't raised in that kind of church. I was raised in more conservative, black Disciples of Christ kind of church. And we heard this music. They had drums, bass. These people were rocking. They were rocking. We were like, I was like, what are they playing? What is that? I was like, I loved it. And then there was a girl, an older teenager. She went to that church and she could actually play, but she couldn't read music. So she could play really well. She could play what she heard, but she didn't know what she was playing. And I could sit there and say, oh, that's a diminished ninth.
Right.
That's a this. And she goes, you know what this is? I said, yeah, that's this. See, and it's like this. And I would tell her how it's laid out. So I actually taught her how to read music when I was 8. I could teach her. And she was like 16, how to read music. And so she understood what she was playing. But she taught me how to play gospel music.
They love 7th, 9th, and 13th.
Yeah, they
music.
do. They love that stuff.
They stick to those chords.
But it was really fun. And that's
now, did you continue your music education in junior high and high school as well?
all the way through.
Oh, wow.
From there to I graduated from high school. I went to 2 schools every day. I went to Conservatory of Music and regular public education.
Oh, so they were separate.
They were separate schools. I had to run from one school to the next. They were just down the street from each other, but I had to be there, get out of this school and run down the street on the same side of the street to the music conservatory so I wouldn't miss my theory and harmony class.
Wow.
So after that, after you left high school, how did your career get started?
Well, I went to college at Oklahoma State University, but I didn't like it. 23,000 people on campus every day. They had these huge big windows with the Confederate flag, stained glass windows everywhere. The Sigma Chi white fraternity.
I know Sigma Chi.
Would march down the street.
We had a fight with them at the University of Pittsburgh. We put it on them too.
They deserved it. Because
we whooped them.
He just wanted to clear that up.
They would march down the street and sing, there'll never be an N-word, Sigma Chi.
Yep.
They would sing this song.
And that's the same thing that they sing that
now?
Right, that
they were
church.
doing that then.
Okay.
They were doing that then, and I lived in student apartments, and there was out of 23,000 people on campus every day at what they call the Rolls Royce of the Southwest. That school was considered that.
So bizarre.
They had the Alpha. A5A had a fraternity house, but it was away from the fraternity row. It kind of set off on it by itself over by the animal husbandry fields.
Oh, wow.
And I had to walk up that hill at night. And so one night when it had kind of snowed, there were some guys standing on the porch at the Alpha Phi Alpha house because I'd been there to a party, and I just kind of waved at them. And they said, "Hi, where you going, girl?" And I said, "I'm going home." And then these white guys pulled up in their Mercedes-Benz and said, "Want to party?" And I said, no. They tried to drag me in the car, and I started fighting them. And these guys, brothers, ran from A5A and came over and got me and rescued me and took me home. And then after that, I came home, and I didn't want to go to school anymore.
Wow.
Yeah, so that was like, I just didn't want to go to that school anymore.
Wow.
Yeah, that's terrible.
So then where did life take you
Then
after
I came back home, and of course, my parents were like, "You're gonna do what? You're not going back to school?" That whole thing. I said, "Well, I want to go to school, but I just don't want to go there," and I just didn't know what I wanted to do. So I was still playing. Somebody asked me if I wanted to do a gig with this guy named Carl Day, and he was a white guy who acted like James Brown.
Oh, okay.
And he actually was really talented. He could really dance like James Brown, sing all of his songs, do things. And I was playing keyboards and singing, doing stuff. And somebody recommended me to Ike and Tina Turner. They were in Wichita, Kansas, and they were looking for another singer. But somebody says, well, where do you go in next? And they go, we're going to Tulsa. He goes, oh, there's a girl there who could do this gig. And so they called the union, and the union guy gave him my number, and they called me long distance on the phone early one Saturday morning. And I was like, had been up really late on a Friday night. And so Saturday morning at 8 o'clock, you do not want to talk on the phone. But my mom goes, it's for you. So I went there and I picked up, and it was somebody. I'm Tina Turner, and I was like, who is this? I thought it was somebody playing on the phone.
She always called personally, yeah.
And I hung up the phone, and then
You hung up on Tina Turner.
hung up the phone.
Oh, wait a minute.
Yeah, and then they called right back, but it was Ike on the phone. He said, "This is Ike Turner. Don't hang up this phone." Like the voice of authority.
Yeah.
But they said they were going to be there, and I should come down and meet
You know what
them.
we all want to say.
Yeah.
Anime.
Don't you hang up
But
that
no, hang on phone on anime. But he wasn't that kind of person then. That's later in life.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, so I went to meet them. I met them at a local hotel when they got in town, and they interviewed me and the whole thing, and they said, okay, you got the job.
Wow.
And I was like, oh, wow, I'm going to do this. And one of my friends had driven me down there, and so I said, now I got to tell my parents
I'm Ikettes.
that I'm going to, I didn't say that, I just like, that I'm going to actually leave tonight.
Yeah.
I have to pack a bag. So I went home and started doing my laundry, and I got to pack a bag and all that. And so my mother goes like, what are you doing? I said, well, I actually got a job and I'm going to leave tonight. She goes, you better talk to your dad. I don't know. So
What did Dad say?
well, he said, yeah, well, I should talk to them. And
Okay.
so they did their show, and then they came and brought all their big tour bus and all their big transit trailer gear truck in front of my house in my neighborhood in
Wow.
the midnight hour.
You know, Ike probably came and knocked on the door.
And they came out and got off the bus, and my mother made them some food, and then my dad went into his study and talked to Ike for about an hour, and they came out. My dad was, okay, you can go.
Wow, that's an amazing story.
That's
right
how
there.
I did
Wow.
the job.
So
That's
when did
wow.
you start? So you started playing, piano and stuff
Well,
like
I
that.
was playing all along.
Right,
Right.
but when did the singing start for you?
I didn't start. Well, I made a group. I put together a group of girls called the Continentals when I was in the 6th grade, and they were in the 7th grade. And I had those girls. I thought they all had great voices that would sound great together. So I did all these arrangements, and we won all these talent shows.
Oh wow!
We won money. I mean,
Okay.
so we were kind of like, the hot
The
little
hit in
action
Tulsa.
around town at that time. But I grew up with the Gap Band too. So that was like really fun when I got in junior high school. Yeah.
So you getting excitement here. I'm seeing all these hits on Facebook,
Facebook.
Live, and you got a
Folks
call on
calling,
it, and we
yeah.
getting ready to start the show with some music. We're gonna kind of go back, but we'll have fun doing this tonight. So we're gonna start off, but we'll take the caller first, and then we're gonna go into some musical selections. Caller, who do we have on the line? Welcome to We Love Red Blues.
Hey, Greg Lee.
Hey, Greg.
Hey,
Sneedums.
Sneedums.
You got a question for our guest, my good man?
Well, yeah, just checking out the show and wonderful guest, and looking forward to a wonderful evening.
Okay.
All right.
Great. Well, we miss you.
Yeah, I miss you guys too.
Yeah.
All right, my good
And,
man.
didn't get a chance to meet you, but my family is from Oklahoma. My father from Oklahoma City. I had cousins lived in Tulsa and Bartlesville, and
Wow.
my mother was born in Enid,
Wow. That's the real deal.
Animal, and also an Alpha. So I'm glad that my brother took care of you.
Oh Lord, that's why he really called.
Great. All right, my good man. Well, I'm glad you sharing that story, and keep us in mind here, and let us know what we doing, man, backstage.
You got it.
All right.
Okay.
Have a blessed show. Wonderful.
Thank
All
you.
right.
Thank you, Greg.
Take care, man.
Sneedums.
Again, thank you for listening to us all over the globe. Brought to you by Beverly Boys Video Production and Wings Limousine, where you ride like a star. So we're going to start this off with a video selection. We're going to come right out the gate. Let the folks know how it used to go down.
Like Gravity, huh?
Yes,
Yeah.
indeed.
Let's do it.
We doing it. Pretty Tony? Yeah, Pretty Tony, you ready? You got it? You ready? Got it? Do you?
Come on, anime.
So,
Come on, hit it.
don't call it anime.
On the one.
You I'll stand by you all the while and watch us grow and watch us grow. I saw the sun shine today. All of the clouds were slowly drifting away. Falsehoods are made up to hide our wrongs, but please let us go on together. I'll stand by you all the while and watch us grow. Watch us grow. I saw the sun shine today.
welcome back to We
Girl,
Love
let him go,
Rare
let him go.
Let him
Grooves
go.
right here. So
Give him
we-
back.
We went down to the Groove Vault to get that.
Yeah,
one.
that was
Wait.
that was
It took some
69, 1969. Huh?
Yeah.
That wasn't.
That was quite all right.
She wasn't even Maxayn on that one.
No.
we pulled out. It said Paulette Parker on
Yeah.
the 45.
That's-
So that's how it all started. So
Okay,
take us back there. Take us
Yeah.
back in
Where
time.
did Maxayn come from? Why not?
Yeah.
Paula
Well-
Parker?
Well,
Why not? Yeah, why not your original name? Where did that Maxayn come from?
my uncle used to call me Maxayn. He used to say I was a goddess of the wind.
Oh.
But he was like, he would be drinking.
Those
Those
are
are
Hennessy
the best
talking, huh?
nicknames
And he,
come
Yeah.
from.
he could speak
That truth-
French and do all
Yeah.
this, you know. So,
Truth serum. Truth serum.
yeah.
That's the best.
Maxayn.
The best nicknames come from drinking.
So that's
Right.
he would call me that, you know, because I was running around playing piano and trying to sing and do stuff. So he would call me Little Goddess of the Wind, and there was Maxayn. There is a goddess named Maxayn. It's a Mayan goddess. So
Oh.
Oh.
Man,
Yeah.
Maxayn. Okay.
But you didn't know that, Clifton.
No, I did not. I tried to know as much as I can, but I didn't get that one. As we continue here on We Love Rare Groove. So tell us about the song. That had a little bluesy
yeah,
sound to it. And you were about, what, 12 singing that?
I was
Two?
young, pretty young, maybe 17 or something. I had auditioned for this show that ended up not happening. The show didn't happen. This is in Tulsa. And one of the guys who was going to put this show on knew Don Roby and he knew Andre Williams. So he said, I think you should check this girl out. And she's, doing. And I was like, this is before I went to college. It's like, before I went to college. And I was like, I'll do that. So then after I did it, it was kind of like I went to Chicago. They took me to Chicago. They took me to Texas, and it was like I didn't know anything about anything. I had never been in a recording studio. I didn't know anything about. I could just play and sing.
Had you ever been outside of Tulsa before?
Probably not. I had never traveled anywhere.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it was, I had
All
to
new.
have, yeah. They had to. My mom and dad had to give them a paper that said that they could
Cross
take me.
state line.
Yeah, be my guardian.
Get a
kind of
kidnap
thing.
charge.
Yeah. And so, but anyway, so I did that in Texas, and I went to Chicago, and all within a week's time. That was so it was, I didn't. It was like I didn't think anything of it. Like, what's gonna come out of this? I don't know.
So you never saw a career in music?
I didn't think. It was like this was somebody else's idea. That at that
For
point,
you, right?
Like okay, and I could do this song and do some other stuff and Driving Wheel and. They wanted me to do a song called Driving Wheel, and I did that. And I had to make my own arrangement of it. So I was like, okay, I can do that. And it was sort of like, oh, can you do this? But yeah, I can do that. Can you do that? Yeah, I can do that. They'll ever say no. It's like,
Sure, I can. I can do that.
yeah,
Absolutely.
say yes, and
Right.
then learn, do your homework really quick,
Right.
and do a quick study and do it, that kind of thing. So, because I didn't want to miss out on anything, so
Right.
that's what it was. Then I came back, and then I thought I forgot all about it. And then when I was later on when I was going to sign to Capricorn Records, then it occurred to me that I had that I should. Have you ever been signed to a record label before? And I went like, yeah, maybe, because nothing ever. I didn't think anything ever happened with this. But anyway, he Don Roby let me go. I talked to him and he let me go. Gave me a release with no fight.
Look at him.
He's grooving.
I'm listening. I can
Yeah.
multitask.
Can you?
Yes, I can.
You sure about that?
So
Yes, I can.
the Soul
Tell-
Train video that we saw, tell us about how that came to be.
They invited us to be on that show. I always tell people when they watch the video to watch the dancers. I mean, everybody wants to watch us, but watch the dancers because we already knew them.
Oh, you did?
Now, we knew them from Mavericks Flats because we used to play Mavericks.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
Now, if anybody here knows who
Yeah, we do.
Yes,
we used to
of
play at
course.
Mavericks Flat.
Okay.
Yeah, we played.
So you
there.
know what I mean. It was like
Absolutely.
it was the
The
premier
Mecca on
place.
Crenshaw.
That's right.
Mecca on
Maverick Flat
Crenshaw.
was the spot.
It was the
Maverick
spot to
and
be.
the Total
That's
Experience.
Pied
right.
Piper,
It's
Total
still
Experience.
open sometimes.
Yeah, so
I know,
Don,
but it was
John
happening then.
Daniels was really a big fan, and he really wanted to promote us so much, and he owned Mavericks Flats. So those dancers, when Don Cornelius and Dick Griffey was bringing all this stuff they brought from Chicago. They were looking for dancers. They just went there and said, "Oh, we'll just get all these people out here to be the Soul Train dancers."
And they probably were so excited.
So when they saw, we've been standing in front of them forever.
Right.
You know, so we get there and we get to Soul Train, and then I look around and go like, "Hey, what are you guys doing here?" And it's like, "What are you doing here?" Wow, it's Maxayn. They were glad to see us. So they're really dancing and acting really crazy if you really pay attention to the dances on that.
I was digging the hat on one of the musicians.
Yeah,
Right.
the big black oversized
Yeah.
crocheted apple hat.
Yeah,
That's-
right.
That was Andre.
That was
Or
Andre. That was my
him.
man. We
That
listening in the
was- that was
background.
him.
That was Andre. Okay.
He was playing fretless
Andre.
bass. That
Okay.
was
He
him.
was killing.
Yeah, he was a multi-instrumentalist. Very talented man. Really incredible.
Is he still with us?
No, he isn't. He passed away in
2012.
2012.
Oh.
And but he was an amazing, I say he was an electronic wizard. He was a kind of a wizard kind of person, and he was way ahead of his time.
Yeah, this is
Right.
with so much.
For
I
sure,
mean,
yeah.
not just music, but where the world, the kind of things that the world is doing now.
Right.
He sort of would say, this is going to happen, and this is going to be like this. And
Right.
before MRIs, for instance, he said, you'll be able to stand in front of something. They'll be able to look at your whole body and
Wow.
scan you and tell you, blah, blah, blah. He said, because the electronics are there, are going then
That direction.
in that direction, because he really knew electronics. He could draw circuitry.
Man.
I mean, sit there and do it. He's responsible for, I don't know anybody that knows the Lynn machine.
Right.
Heard about- okay.
The Lynn machine,
Right.
which was like, that ushered in an era of drum machines like the
Right.
R8, or what is it, 08, the 808,
808,
808,
Yeah.
the Roland. So he
all
was
that.
there on Roland.
And we introduced Roland instruments to America. They liked our music,
Right.
and they sought us out, and we did all their beta testing for all the first synthesizers and everything. And we were the first group in America to record with Roland instruments.
Oh,
Right, with
wow.
Andre Lewis and Mondre.
Yeah,
and that's,
that,
and he
and
was
then
on,
that out of that came the Mondre thing,
Right.
all that about going into.
And
the-
we'll
only
go back.
on
Well,
We Love Rare Groove.
well, we
Yeah.
might as well
I know,
go.
right?
We're gonna go back, but since you had that show, that we'll do the caller, but show Mondre. Oh, they did show Mondre
Probably was Ike. No, I'm
because
kidding.
the group. What is it? Das
Punk.
Das Punk.
Daft Punk.
No,
we
Daft
talk-
Punk.
Daft
Daft
Punk.
Punk.
Daft Punk.
Daft Punk.
Right.
They took the
Lord
whole
have
image.
mercy.
Right.
I got that
They did.
album.
Pittsburgh.
I had the
Public
album.
Schools.
Yeah.
But I think I did see,
We talked about it on the show before, but I'm so glad that you're here to really just
Right.
tell us that they just lifted
Right.
they just lifted the whole image.
They took the
Right,
idea.
the whole image and the idea. And this is, I guess, after he passed, so they didn't have to give any royalties
Right.
to anybody.
Well,
I mean,
Andre
just go
worked
to-
on his helmets. He had a
Keep
number
going
of
up.
them.
Just look for
Oh,
Mondre.
wow.
on
Oh,
it.
the helmet thing is
The
his.
helmet.
Yeah, the helmet
the whole-
right
the whole
there with the
thing.
tuxedo on.
He had a
No,
number
no,
of them.
down, right there with the tuxedo head, and you'll see that right there. That's it. And this is what they did. They came on the Grammys when they won with this whole right there.
Right, with the head,
Right,
with the
the head.
headpieces on.
Wow.
Yep. And he designed those headpieces.
Yeah,
Right.
Bill. Do you know a designer named Bill Witten?
No.
He did a lot of high-end costuming and
Right.
film.
Didn't he do the gloves for Michael Jackson?
He
I
may
think?
have.
Right,
He
he
may
did the
have.
gloves for Michael
He
Jackson.
may have done that red leather jacket as well
Right.
for Michael Jackson.
He did
But
the
was
white
famous
glove.
as a costumer and
Wow.
designer for those signature pieces
Right.
that people remember and become
Standout pieces,
worth
yeah.
a lot of money because they were designed
like
as
you said,
specific.
Well,
Ahead of his
they
time.
say there's nothing new under the sun, so they just went and took the whole thing.
Yeah,
huh?
well, I knew it because aren't they from Germany?
Yeah,
Right,
yeah,
yeah,
they
right.
were
And
real-
see,
they were
Andre
really into-
actually spent about 10 years in Germany.
Did
Because
he?
Germany has a huge soul music
Yeah.
love for
So
soul
you
music.
never know. See,
Yeah.
they saw
They
something.
took it.
Because when I seen that's the first thing I said. That's Mondre. They copied the whole thing. I
They
hope he
did.
getting his receipts.
Right.
Right.
That's the first thing that came to
Along
mind.
with our man, the bass player, no, the guitar player from Chic.
From where?
you talking
Chic,
about Nile Rodgers?
Now Rogers,
Yeah.
he plays
yeah.
all with them.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
he did.
yeah,
play with
yeah.
him.
Nile
Absolutely
Rodgers.
right. So as we continue the program, we're gonna take a minute here to take a break for our guys over there at Beverly Boys Video.
Boyd.
Beverly Boys Video Production all over the world. from New York to London to Miami. Give them a call.
My name's Dave Patterson. I'm a Seattle area videographer. I've been working with Beverly Boy Productions for over 2 years, and I can say they are great to work with. They've always provided me with the information I need so that when I show up on set, I can shoot exactly what's necessary to tell the story the client is trying to tell. Call sheets that include the who, what, why, where, when of the video shoot, production notes, gear requirements, crew requirements, load-in time, all that. Makes my job a lot easier, and ultimately it produces the results that the client's going to be happy with. This is what a professional company like Beverly Boy Productions does. And also it's one of the reasons why I really enjoy working with them. It's a bit of a family vibe. They're very low-key, low pressure, but they're very professional at the same time, and they get the results, and that's ultimately what matters most. I'm proud to be a shooter for Beverly Boy Productions, and if you're looking for a company to produce your next video production, by all means, give them a call. They can handle any sort of scale project, from a single-person interview to a large production with multiple cameras and large crews. You won't be disappointed with the results. Give them a call.
We love Rare Grooves in the studio with the fabulous, talented, underrated, I'm
Visionary.
a gem, an old school gem. I'm telling you that. Classic music from Maxayn Lewis, and we're gonna talk about it.
And who would have known that
towards
she
the-
hung up on
Tina Turner.
Tina Turner?
Yeah, man.
Ike said, "Don't you hang up his phone."
They ain't never met now.
Yeah, they didn't live too far from me. Tina Turner. That house was still the same.
They used to live up in Baldwin Hills, didn't they?
No, it was Windsor Hills.
Oh,
Windsor
okay,
Hills
yeah.
Park. And that house was still the same.
Yeah.
Still the same. I don't know if it is now, because I knew somebody they was trying to, they had a little tour. You can go there and see that. I mean, they had that round bed.
You know what they used to do
fishbowl.
though? They used to have to bolt their furniture down to the floor because people used to go in and steal it all the time.
Wow.
So they
But
would
it was-
bolt their furniture.
but
That's
the
probably
house-
why it still looks.
Yeah, it looked the same. It looked the same way
'Cause
back,
they used to
back
get
in the
stolen
days.
from them
It
all
was
the
looked
time.
exactly
Yeah,
the
But
same.
on Olympiad Drive.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
As we continue here on We Love Rare Grooves, we're gonna get into some more Maxayn music. I mean, I want you to introduce this song right here, because this song right here was what you call real soul funk right here. So the next song that we coming up, this is Maxayn. Then we're gonna come back and talk about the group members and how you guys came about. So just lead us into this next song that's coming in. If you turn on the side of the page, I think here we go. The song is Maxayn.
You can't always get what you want.
There it is.
That's what they say.
Get what you want. Getting here from Maxayn Lewis. Let's do it here on We Love Red Grooves.
of direction. Abused, misused, downhearted and blue. Can't find love, can't find affection. You see what you see, what you see is what you wanna be. And somehow you just can't fake it. Somehow you are what you are, and that's all you are. It's a fact of life that you just can't make it. Oh, you can't make it. Yes, sir. Lies within my friend. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Lies within. Yes, sir. Lies within my friend. Yes, sir. Lies within. When troubles are many and friends are few, and you think you've done all that you can do, remember that the solution to any situation cannot be found through self-pity and frustration. Yes, sir, lies within my friend. Yes, sir, lies within. Yes, sir, lies.
See, that's BC. That's before Shaka.
That's
Way
before
before
Shaka.
That's
Way
before
before-
Shaka.
way before
Before
Shaka.
Shaka.
Before Shaka, because somebody in the studio just said remind them of Shaka. Is that something? Is that
Yeah,
what's
that
up?
was me. I did.
Okay.
I'll take that
You got
one.
corrected.
And tell them.
I was
Corrected.
lovely corrected.
Mix Maxayn, would you let them know what time it is? Come on now.
Come
Tell
on.
them, girl.
Well,
Tell it.
we came out a little bit before Shaka and Rufus.
Little bit.
That's right.
Yes.
Just a
A
little.
little
Ah.
Yeah,
Just a little bit.
before, yeah. But we're really good friends. We are friends.
You got,
Yeah.
you got some fans on your side.
I just-
my hero.
I just wanted to quickly just acknowledge, I think we did it last week, but Walter Bunny Sigler passed. He was a songwriter, singer, producer, and he really helped create that sound of Philadelphia.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we played one of the songs just now. That was a great song that I
Real
enjoyed
soulful.
by Bunny, My Other Love. And just want to give him some recognition. He worked very closely with Gamble and Huff and put that blended soul, funk, and big band style and kind of cemented that into the sound of Philadelphia. Did you ever meet?
I did have the pleasure of meeting him in Philadelphia once
Okay.
when Gamble and Huff invited me to come out when we were sort of looking at maybe me joining Philadelphia, the sound of Philadelphia. But it didn't work out. The deal didn't, they couldn't come to a, between management and everything, they just couldn't come to a deal that made sense for us at that time. So.
Okay.
But I did meet them, and I really enjoyed meeting them. I got to hear a lot of great music. And I got to meet Bunny.
Okay.
He was there. He was
Well,
very
bless him.
soulful,
May
very
rest-
kind man.
May he rest in greatness. Continue. Tell us about Maxayn. How did that all come together? That
So I
collaboration.
said that I had met at that show. I met Donny Hathaway, and he gave me his card and said he was going to go to New York and he would call me when he came back. And and I didn't have a number other than my mother's number, no cell phone. So as he walked away, Andre and Marlo just kind of stepped right up to me because I had done a show there, and everybody was backstage and, oh, you were great, that kind of thing, and people all backstage. So Andre goes, so you can go with the guy in the 3-piece suit, or you can come with us and go to space.
So which one did you take?
I took the space.
Hence our earlier conversation.
Yeah.
That's it. I had to take the space because Marlo and Andre looked like they had just came from space. The way they were dressed, I was like, "Wow, what do you guys do?" And they said they were with Buddy Miles and they were doing rock, and I was like, "Oh yeah, I want to do that." That sounded like something adventurous to do, and it was. It was something fun and adventurous and crazy and life-changing. It was great.
Wow.
And what were some of your career highlights in your life that you say, I cannot believe that happened?
Well, just doing all of this was something that I couldn't imagine being in from a place like Oklahoma that's so, kind of stayed in one. People never
Don't
leave
leave,
there. That kind of thing.
Wow.
So, but I knew that I wanted, I wanted to do something, but I didn't know anyone in particular. Who do I know to call to get me out? Help me escape. Nothing. There's no one. And for me to get it,
leave,
so I got a call, and that to me was like amazing. Like the universe sort of aligned,
Rescued you,
and sort of said, "You really want to go. You really want to do this." And so, and I had no idea like how long if I could actually do that job with Ike and Tina Turner. And once we got out there, then I became the leader of the Ikettes, and because I realized these girls didn't really know it. They could dance, they could sing, but they didn't know music. So Ike was like, well, oh wait, then you can take them over the background parts. You can play the songs and teach them parts, that kind of thing. So it sort of like,
We don't need anime no more.
Oh my God.
it wasn't like that at all, because at the time that I met them, it was like going to the university of how to be an entertainer. I swear, because they were very business-like and really serious about what they were doing. This is before any of all that other stuff that came later. This is before all of that. Tina was like a Olympic athlete. She did not do anything because that was a really hard show to do, but it was a lot of fun to do.
A lot of energy they put into it.
You had to be like an athlete to do
Be
it.
in shape.
Because you
Yeah,
get
you
the ball
moving,
every
right.
night,
Moving.
where you couldn't talk when you came off stage.
Wow.
That's how your heart was beating so hard, and you were like totally just soaking wet. You do that every day, like 347 one-nighters and 365 days. You learn what you have to do, and you
And
can't.
that's
You
what's
don't have
missing
any
now.
time. You don't have
Yep.
any time to be messing up or doing crazy stuff or party, and you better go to sleep, and Ike was more he was the boss, but he was actually a really kind person, and he was actually very generous to us. And all those stories about how he did all this with all the girls and all that, no, he actually didn't. Not when I was there. He was like, you better go to sleep so you can get some rest, because tomorrow I want you 100%.
Right.
So that was, and because we had a
it's about
really
his
tight.
business.
That was that
Right,
era.
yeah, the show, right.
Yeah.
Back then
It
it
was
was
called
a
That
show.
was that era though, because
Right.
they said that about Barry too. It was like the school of
Yeah.
Barry. You went to school to learn.
Yeah,
how
it
to
was
be
it
an
was
entertainer.
like nothing else. I really appreciate having that. That was that said it, because he also, when we were had downtime, he would sit down and read contracts to us. Did you know what it says on this paper? You say like that. Let me read it. He would hand out. You read that page. You read this page. Then he would just point to us. Read that. What does that mean? He would explain that, all of that legalese stuff to us. What a rider is. What does that
Right.
mean? What's supposed to be there?
And they left all that out of the movie.
They left everything, all that great stuff out.
Well, I mean, Ike Turner is one of he is really started rock and roll music the way we know it today. I mean, he'll never get those accolades, unfortunately, but he's one of the greatest rock and roll people, period.
Right. And the only image we have
Yeah.
in our generation is me sitting up there
I mean,
talking
we
about
have if
anime.
you look.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
See
If
how
you
that-
look
see how
for
that-
it, you have
it was
it.
really,
Right.
it was really different. I mean, and it was a lot of respect there. He didn't do any. When I joined that group, there was no drugs on the buses. There was nothing. He didn't even drink. The only thing he did was he smoked cigarettes.
Right.
Which everybody did back then.
And that was,
Yeah.
you see that in
Okay.
film and everywhere.
Yeah.
He smoked cigarettes. But other than that, he was completely groomed to the max.
Right.
Everybody on that show had to be groomed to the max. You couldn't get off the bus looking like, oh,
Right.
I just traveled 800 miles. No, you have to look like you just woke up fresh as a daisy,
And that's the experience that we're having on the show by having guests like you.
Yeah.
Going back to James Brown, because it goes back to like when my grandmother raised me. We always had to be 3 and 4 times better
Yeah.
than the white race in anything that
Your
we
counterparts,
did.
yeah.
Right, your
Anything.
counterparts in anything. So that's the same things that we're hearing that behooves each one of these entertainers.
Yeah.
You really had to be professional
Yeah.
and be on top of your game.
Absolutely.
And any other instruments you play besides piano?
I learned to play French horn and flute.
The French horn.
Oh, isn't that such a beautiful instrument?
Ooh.
I love that, and I played that in band and orchestra, that kind of thing. And
It is. I love the sound of the French
It's so
horn.
beautiful, and the English horn too is beautiful.
Yeah. So, I like stuff like oboe, like bassoon.
Oh, I love the oboe.
Bassoon, those
Man, I ain't
low
heard that in a
woodwinds.
while.
Woodwind
Oboe.
instruments.
Oh, boy,
Those
I
are all
ain't heard
woodwind
that in a
instruments.
while,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah, and a
That's
bassoon. Those are woodwind instruments.
And see-
Flugelhorn and the bass clarinet.
And they took music out of the schools. Look, I remember all that. I wasn't really musical, but we had to go and take music class.
You had to.
And
right?
you heard those
I
stories.
had
right.
I had topography. I had sewing. I had home ec.
See, I never had
all of
sewing
that.
at home ec, thank
So-
God.
yeah, I made a.
I probably would've
I made a
protested.
blue football. It was like a little pillow.
Did you have to sew an apron in home ec too?
Well, I didn't sew an apron. I had
did
wood
home
shop.
because there was some girls in there.
We know why you did
Yeah,
home
I
ec.
had wood shop.
There was some
I remember
girls.
Some girl.
The girls,
to
that's
see
it.
me at home.
He was the
remember-
only man in the class.
Right.
I got a button on you.
No,
Can
but
you sew it?
we had to take those
No, that's
electives.
food,
yeah.
cooking. Home
Yeah,
ec.
well, at my high
yeah.
school in Tulsa, you could take cosmetology. And
Wow.
you could
Yeah.
actually do it in your junior year and your senior year. And by the time you got finished, you had 1,000 hours. And you could actually graduate from high school and go right to state board and take your
Wow.
exam. And you were a licensed cosmetologist.
Wow.
You could do that if you wanted to do it. They had a number of things they could do called vocational
Yeah.
education.
You weren't shackled
need-
with debt. Now you
we
have to
need
pay
more of
for it.
those.
As
You
we
have to
do.
pay for that
We
now.
need more of those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're going to continue with the show here on We Love Rare Grooves. We got some other music tonight that we want to sneak in here.
Okay.
And we're going to play some segments of that. And then we're going to come back with Maxayn, talk a little bit more about what's going on now in Maxayn, because we're pretty excited what's getting ready to come out.
Me too.
So we can write, this is your boy. We're going to talk about this man right here when we come back. This is your boy right here.
That is so hot.
Go ahead.
Well, my mind is going through them changes. I feel just like committing a crime. Every time you see me going somewhere, I know I'm going out of my mind, yeah. Oh, my baby, she left me the other day, and we were having a lot of fun. Oh, she knew I just loved her so. And that's the reason why she had to run. It's alright, you know what I mean. It's alright, what I said. It's alright, oh yeah. Well, my mind is going through so many changes. I'm going right out of my mind. Every time you see me going somewhere, I could commit a big old crime, yeah. She had me running, she had me riding, she had me running, hiding, riding, running. Had me running, she had me hiding, had me running, hiding, crying, yeah. Had me running, had me hiding. She had me running, had me crying, yeah, yeah. Sorry, what I said, yeah. Sorry.
Making love with making love with
When my body starts to rise, I can feel you synchronize. The dance has begun. Riding at a gentle pace,
felt the fall, and the silence of the room became so chilly. It was then I think I knew you weren't coming home, so I cried my last tear for you. And all that afternoon I thought out things I didn't say. Maybe somewhere I had failed to reach you, but I knew you wouldn't hear me, and I couldn't make you stay. So I feared my greatest fear about you. You cried my last tear, and I knew you changed, and I wondered if I could face the coming day. I cried my last tear so that you would never know. Then I hid myself inside and walked away. I know that people change. I know it's happened to me before, but baby, let me say I never tried to blame. But I will never.
Back to We Love Maxayn Lewis tonight.
Yes, we do.
Cried my last tear. That song, Big Red, we're going to have to do something, but Big Red too late because it's already coming back out.
Yeah, it is.
It's already coming back
excited.
out. So before we get into that, we're going to talk about your experience. We played some Buddy Miles tonight. What does Buddy mean to you? How does that collaboration mean to you?
Andre and Marlo were telling me they were in a band that had Buddy Miles, and I didn't know who he was at that moment, at that
you
time.
ain't know who the Buddy Miles
because their record hadn't come out
Okay.
yet. And then I was like, kind of like, oh, okay, yeah, because I didn't know. And then I heard they had Down by the River.
Mm-hmm.
That song, I heard that on the radio after they had told me about it. And I went like, I love this song. Who is this? And somebody said, I don't know. And then it said, Buddy Miles. I was like, that's them, and I realized that was the record that was some of the music they were telling me about. Then I loved it. I just fell in love with Buddy Miles' music. And when I met him, he was such a cool guy. Like he was actually so unpretentious and real, just down to earth, and he just loved music. He wanted everybody to do music with him. Oh yeah, sing with me.
That's right.
He was like that. He was inclusive of everybody. He loved good music. He loved making it, and he would just get up early in the morning. We lived in a 34-room house in Boston, in Newton Center.
Really?
And when I joined with them, and he would just get up in the morning like bright and early and just walking around with a guitar, just doing feedback. I see he could play guitar.
Right.
That's right. I forget. Yeah,
he could play guitar.
Right.
So he would just be doing all this stuff and doing all these sounds and everything. He just loved just doing stuff and being mischievous, and stuff with music. He was great.
We almost should do our own unsung on Buddy Miles.
Right.
Because he ain't getting the
he's
due
not.
respect.
It's
But
a
I forgot
lot,
about
right?
He was pretty
If
awesome.
we don't tell it,
Awesome.
it's know.
But I
That's
forgot
why
about
we
the
do
guitar
this.
playing. I have seen him. I mean, he can play.
He could play.
Oh, yeah.
And I loved his delivery on songs, just lyric wise. The way he just laid it out. His voice is something about it.
Yeah.
Something about his delivery is just excellent.
And he died young. My
Yeah.
goodness, man. Wow.
The good always. And plus, he was an incredible drummer. I loved what we call inside drive. He had inside drive. when he
Inside
played.
drive, huh?
Yeah, just had this thing that was like, he was so even,
Right.
he never came around and was in the wrong place.
That's
When he
right. That's
went
right.
around the drums, coming back around, he would be
Always
right
on
Pocket.
the one.
That's that pocket. That's that pocket.
Always on the one.
and that
Right.
big foot.
Yeah. Boom.
Heavy foot, yeah. So, what is Maxayn Lewis doing today?
Well, I have the vocal architect thing that I do where I coach vocalists.
So, what is a vocal architect?
Yeah.
There's someone that helps you build your voice.
Okay.
Okay.
Just like bodybuilders, you know, when you exercise, you can lose weight and do all that. But if you really want your body to be balanced and strong, then you have to, like a ballet dancer. If you don't have strong feet, you're not going to be a great dancer.
So what if they
So
lose
you
it?
have to build it all the way up. Your muscles have to interact in a certain way so that you can have movement and be graceful and make it look easy, because it's not.
Right.
But the same thing for your voice. And any exercise you do is not going to put your voice in shape. You can run 10 miles a day, but it won't put your voice in shape. It won't build your vocals. That's something you really have to do, some specific precision exercises to build your voice so that it shows up to do whatever you want it to do.
Wow.
Like an architect.
So,
So what about folks who lose their voice? Can you build it back up?
I have helped people regain their voice if you have like a stroke
anybody
or
know?
something.
I know some folks that need some help.
Yeah, I've helped some singers who have lost their voices to illness and accidents or injury, that kind of
But
thing.
if you couldn't sing, though, she can't help you.
You can't help you. Huh?
Any notoriety of folks that you've helped?
Well, I've worked with a lot of different people at different times and different.
I mean, we just want some names. You know, we just want to do a little TMZ.
Right, just a little drop name, right quick.
Beyonce.
I've helped.
Rihanna. You know.
I know I've never met Beyonce or Rihanna. I don't know them.
Okay.
But I don't know who works with them. But for instance, I just remembered that Adele had. You know, she had
bleeding
to have
on the
surgery.
cords.
Right.
And the first thing they recommended was surgery. But basically, she just needed rest and heal.
And proper
And
training.
heal.
And then just to learn how to reuse your voice.
Right.
That makes such a big difference. And I taught that method in Japan, and I taught it here in the United States. And that's
Really? So how can they get in touch with you? You want to?
If they want to,
at Maxayn. I'm on Facebook and Instagram.
Like I followed you, right?
Yeah, you can follow me and you can get in touch with me there.
And you're located locally, right?
Right here in Los
So
Angeles.
all you
Beverly
vocalists
Hills?
who need
Yes, it's at Maxayn Lewis.
Right.
Yes,
vocal
Maxayn.
training, a lot of people could benefit from.
You need to accept me as a friend too.
That's because we want you to teach them how to sing. I told
Well,
them
no,
that
I'm
certain
just
things,
hanging on.
you just can't,
You just got me hanging on right now.
Oh, she's got you in the Facebook limbo.
Right, I'm in Facebook limbo right now.
No, that's because I haven't looked at it.
It just says like a request sent. She hasn't asked.
I have to do that.
Oh my God.
I will accept
You
it.
got
Let
the
him hang on
music
for a couple
ready
more
for
days.
60 seconds. You want to do 60
Oh,
seconds?
sure.
We got some fun we're going to do with you right here.
So I'm going to ask you a series of random questions, and you have to answer them in 60 seconds.
Ooh, really?
Yeah.
Really fast. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, can I think that fast? I hope so.
Of course you can. You're a musician.
All right.
Okay. What was your first job?
My first job, I was playing for my church.
Your favorite song to perform?
I cried my last tear.
Actually, I would say it's a Beatles song.
What is it?
And I Love Him.
Oh, we love that. Name a lover gave you.
Oh, wow. Bright Eyes.
Hey! Greatest piece of advice?
Be true to yourself.
I was born in 1984. What were you doing then?
In 84?
Did you say anime?
84.
No,
84. What were you doing?
In 1984, I was getting ready to go to Japan.
Oh, if you could record or produce an album for a celebrity that is deceased, who would it be?
Oh, Ella Fitzgerald.
Oh,
Ella.
If you hadn't made a career in music, what would you be doing instead?
I would be microbiologist.
That's 60 seconds. Very good time. A microbiologist. All right.
As we getting close to conclusion of the show, we have to. It's about that time where we're getting ready to get into the dusty of the dusty of the week. This is well, we already really did a dusty when we pulled out Paulette Parker.
Yeah,
Paulette
that was a dusty. Yeah.
Max said Paulette Parker was a dusty.
Oh, yeah, it was real dusty.
That was very dusty.
That was very dusty.
Yeah, I will say that was.
We went
You want to
deep
explain
down.
to our listeners what a dusty is?
Well, dusty is a song that's, what we say, unreleased, not having been played, just deep down in the crate. There's songs in the basement, a song that was on a production that may not have been released, but we thought it was a great song, or it's giving homage to that group. So what we're going to do right now is bring you the Dusty of the Week, brought to you by Sweet Events, where you get all your marketing needs and all your internet needs, and they're managing your events at sweetevents.com. So thank them very much for bringing us the Dusty of the Week. And today we're just going to go ahead and do a clip from the Ikettes.
Hey.
The Ikettes.
Oh, suck it now.
back to We Love Rare Grooves here in the Groove Studios
They were
on
ahead-
the UBN Radio
ahead of
TV
their time.
Network.
Way
Y'all
ahead.
were ahead of your time.
Man,
Beautiful.
that's groovy right there. That's groovy right there. Maxayn.
Thank you.
I like that record. So you have a company in the UK that's remastering all 3 of your albums, right?
Cherry Red Records.
Okay.
Wonderful.
And it will be dropping on October 27th.
It's a folder. It's
Maxayn Reloaded.
Maxayn
Okay,
Reloaded.
and where
Look
can
at it.
where can people get that at?
You'll be able to get it everywhere.
All the
iTunes
digital
or-
downloads.
Yeah, you'll be able to get it everywhere. You have to actually own the package. There's a book in there, lots of pictures that have never been published before, and lots of good stuff.
So
And
it's all yours, right?
It's all yours on
all
it, huh?
yours.
yes,
This is a Maxayn Reloaded. It's a folk. We had the flyer that you
Yes.
had there. We're gonna show it. He'll find it.
that's actually the cover of the
Right,
package.
that's gonna be the cover of the package. It's all 3 albums.
all 3
on it.
albums.
Wow. Deluxe.
So man, they beat Big Red to it because I was gonna see if I can master it.
Huh.
So
There
is
it
it
is.
out? Is it?
Red.
There it is. We're showing it right now. So it's coming out October 27th.
Yes.
And we look forward to being able to promote it. If your guy calls me back, we'll
Yes,
promote
he
it
will.
every week on the show.
Yeah, I would love that.
We would love that.
Yeah.
Help us keep the show going. Keep the
Yeah.
lights on. Keep the
it
studio
going.
on. So
got a
that's
good group
great.
here.
Well, thank you so much for that. Thank you so much. What you think of the show?
I love it. It's really fun. And you guys made me laugh a lot, and you picked some really great, aside from my music, I mean, you picked some real nice flow of music that I really love.
Wonderful.
Okay.
And it was great hearing it again, which people think that you sit around and listen to your own music all the time.
Right.
And you don't. I listen to everything else.
yes.
So it's like really refreshing to hear some of this again.
Took you back, huh?
Yeah.
Right.
Well, you home now.
Right.
Yeah.
You
Right.
part of
Alumni.
the, you part of the Groove Studio. You welcome
yeah.
back anytime.
Yeah.
Anytime. But we got a couple more things. Go ahead.
So what
Shanti.
inspires you to keep going after all these years?
The fact that when we were doing this music, the spirit behind it and why we wanted to do it, it wasn't like it for any mercenary reason. It was it was really because we loved it, and I still love it. I still love doing music. I still like being a part of it. I mean, I really love doing it. So.
And what legacy do you think that you have contributed to music?
Well, I hope I've inspired some people along the way to believe in themselves, to never give up on yourself.
Right.
That's one thing.
Right.
And especially I'm particular to young black artists. I want our artists to really do great music and of substance. I like all the fun stuff. I like that too, but I think you can do both. I think you can have substance and fun and be really hip and really cool, but have some substantive lyrics, that give a message that means something. Because
Right.
a lot of times when you get a message in music, it really sticks with you more. Because you can sing it, you can hear the melody in your head, and you remember what it says.
You know I remember stuff, don't I?
Yeah. I mean, you can just look at the music that you remember right now. It's some of the most incredible
man,
stuff
tell
is
me
in a
about it.
song.
And you can remember
Just
stuff. I
This-
mean, you could hear something you had heard in 20 years, and you remember all the lyrics.
And it
Right.
also
Or
takes you
it
back
takes
to where you
remember
were.
it, right, where
Yeah.
you were. And that's why we
that
do
place.
this show, to keep R&B music alive, keep artists like you relevant, let you tell your story, and let me remember how many seeds I cleaned off.
Oh, God. Dang it.
And your top 5 entertainers, living or dead.
Top 5 entertainers. Definitely Tina.
Hey.
Tina
yes.
Turner. The first concert I ever saw in my life was James Brown, and
Mine too.
That made me go like, "Whoa, that's what a show is."
Yeah.
Right.
That's a show.
Right.
I love Ella Fitzgerald. I like Ray Charles.
My second concert.
Yeah, Ray Charles, and that's a hard thing because I also like
Get one
Burt
more.
Bacharach.
Okay.
Barbara
Dusty
Streisand.
Springfield.
That's Barbara
Celine
Streisand.
Love
Dion.
Dusty Springfield.
I
Love
mean,
her.
there's
Yeah.
just a ton of people out there who do great work, and so just limiting it to 5 is hard. But those people really inspired
Touched
me as a
you,
young
yeah.
person. And Miles Davis, that's what
Yeah.
Well, this was really awesome tonight. It really was. I mean, this is giving you the many moods and the texture when you hear this song right here. It's soulful, it's funky, it's jazzy, it's rock. I mean, it's
ahead of its
sweet,
time.
right?
It's ahead of
great,
really is
still just
right.
as
It's
fresh as it
great
was then.
production in the '70s. I mean, it's just an underrated. This is just underrated, and I'm glad we can bring this here to the listening audience here in 2017.
Well, thank you so
Thank you
much.
so much.
And Daft Punk got to write some checks.
Yeah,
They need to.
right. They need some receipts.
They need to write some checks.
They really do.
Right, really do.
Right,
You
really.
know where you got it from.
Yeah.
So
a lot of people knew that. As soon as they saw them on
Yeah,
television,
like-
my phone started ringing.
oh, did it?
Are you watching the Daft Punk? I was like, yeah, they
God.
they know something about Mondre,
Right,
don't they?
right,
You know,
right.
So
Well, you know, they get slick and go and try to be creative by,
Yeah.
by
And nobody-
digging in the crates and thinking
They-
nobody don't
Can
know.
you get
Right.
the receipts from that? Or can you?
No,
you can't
that's
get the
not
receipts?
my- that was
not-
strict- that was
you couldn't get the
strictly-
receipts from it.
No,
Okay,
no.
I'll just.
I mean,
I'm just
not
checking.
they didn't really do any of his music. They just took an image.
That's
Right.
no, that's they still
know,
should got to
so-
get
Took
that
the
out.
Yeah.
idea,
I
took
mean,
his
it's one
ideas.
thing to recreate the image, but they just lifted it up and said, "Boom," and put it on.
yeah.
Ain't nobody gonna know.
Right. So they wanted just two.
Right. But we want to thank you very much from the bottom of our hearts
Thank
for
you
sharing your
very
story here on the
much.
We Love Rare Groove show. From DJ DeVoe, DJ Reg, Fontany, even Pretty Tony.
Greg Sneed.
Tony
Greg
Greg
Sneed.
Sneed.
Robert.
Robert.
We want to present you with the We Love Rare Grooves Award.
wow.
for
Hey.
taking time.
Hey, get your own microphone.
Kidding me?
No.
No, kidding you.
Wow.
Your
this
name is
cool.
actually on it.
I see. This is like wow.
Yeah, yeah.
She want to take a picture. Go and smile. You're on
There you
the camera. So thank you so much for your contribution to the
Thank
music.
you. Wow.
I mean, you know what you guys have done, what we've been listening to all night is so incredible. So thank you so much for coming. You're always welcome back, and we want to help you promote that. So we'll get with what we're
And
talking
she
about.
done
and see if we
sparked
can make it
something in
happen.
the social media. Well, we've had 220 views, so people are
Right.
just checking in from all over the
Got
world.
folks saying they gonna see you on Wednesday, and some other
Oh,
folks.
yeah.
You got folks. You got fans.
Good.
So
And one more time, how can people stay in touch with you? And what's going on with you?
At Maxayn Lewis on Instagram and Facebook.
Do you have a website too?
Not yet.
Okay.
But if you need help with that, we can talk after the show. I mean, a young lady's been doing some websites for different people, so we'll be glad to help you out with that. As we conclude here on We Love Rare Grooves for another Monday night here in the Groove Studios.
Listen
here
to that.
in
Boy,
Los
listen to that.
Yeah, and you know, boy, don't take me away again. You know I'm trying to close out the show here on We Love Rare Grooves. Check us out on all of our social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter. Also,
Periscope.
we're on iHeartRadio. So
Periscope,
pull us up,
Yes.
Periscope. So pull us up. We look forward to having the app by the end of the month. Ain't that right, Pretty Tony? Or am I talking out of turn?
Huh?
I'm talking out of turn.
Working on it now.
We're working on it now.
Okay, he ain't lying to us this time. He ain't lying. He ain't lying. It's in the works.
Hey, we got some great guests coming up in the next few weeks. I think I'm throw it out there, put it in the heavens. Shanice Wilson, Loose Ends
nice.
coming on. Saida Garrett. So
Working on some-
we're
we
working
gotta
on
get
all-
Saida
working on
back.
s-
Wow. So we putting it out there all in
We're
the
working on
universe.
Snoop.
Brandon
We're working on
Watts.
some folks.
Earl Klug, DJ Quick.
Right.
DJ Quick, we're working on them.
Roy
I'm gonna work
G.
on Herbie.
We're working on
I'm
Herbie.
gonna go work on Herbie
Herbie
Hancock.
Hancock, yeah.
Come
Do
on,
we got
Herbie,
Stanley
come
Clark
on
coming?
in.
Pootie
We
Tang.
got Pootie Tang and Stanley Clark.
Right.
Pootie Tang.
We got Pootie Tang, yeah.
But we want to thank our listening audience all over the globe for joining us every Monday night here as we do it here on
We
Love Rare Grooves.
Hey!
Sayonara.
Good night.
Be home soon, baby.